will enter the park from Bovard Auditorium. When the faculty enter the park, they will march behind heraldic flags bearing academic symbols of the degree-granting schools. Recipients of doctoral degrees are wearing the university's cardinal and gold doctoral gowns. And now, ladies and gentlemen, the processional will begin. Ladies and gentlemen, on your far left, Column A is entering from the northwest corner of Alumni Park, including degree candidates from the School of Architecture, the Saul Price School of Public Policy, the Rossier School of Education, the Thornton School of Music, the School of Cinematic Arts, and the Leventhal School of Accounting. Also on your left, Column B is entering Alumni Park from the northeast, which includes candidates from the Marshall School of Business and the Annenberg School for Communication and Journalism. Column C, entering from the northeast corner of Alumni Park near Doheny Library, includes degree candidates from the Kaufman School of Dance and Mrs. T.H. Chan Division of Occupational Science and Occupational Therapy. Column D, being seated in the center of the park, consists of candidates from the Gould School of Law, the Division of Biokinesiology and Physical Therapy, as well as graduate students receiving the Doctor of Dental Science and the Doctor of Pharmacy degrees. Entering on your right from Northeast Childs Way are the degree candidates from the Suzanne Dworak Peck School of Social Work, candidates from Dental Hygiene Program at the Herman Ostrow School of Dentistry, as well as candidates from the Keck School of Medicine's Health Promotion Division and Physician Assistant Program. On your right, entering the park in columns E and F, is the Bovard College and the Dornsife College of Letters, Arts, and Sciences. Continuing in column F, passing the video screen at the southwest corner of Alumni Park, are the degree candidates of the Roski School of Art and Design, the Leonard Davis School of Gerontology, the School of Dramatic Arts, the Iovine and Young Academy, and the Viterbi School of Engineering. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, and we'll hear it from our graduates this time. On your left, column A is entering the northwest corner, including degree candidates from the School of Architecture, the Saul Price School of Public Policy. I'm not hearing the graduates. The Rossier School of Education, the Thornton School of Music, the School of Cinematic Arts, and the Leventhal School of Accounting. Also on your left, column B is entering Alumni Park, which includes candidates from the Marshall School of Business and the Annenberg School for Communication and Journalism. That's the spirit. Column C, entering from the northeast corner of Alumni Park near Doheny, includes degree candidates from the Kaufman School of Dance and the Mrs. T.H. Chan Division of Occupational Science and Occupational Therapy. Column D, being seated in the center of the park, consists of candidates from the Gould School of Law, the Division of Biokinesiology and Physical Therapy, as well as graduate students receiving the Doctor of Dental Science and Doctor of Pharmacy degrees. Entering on the right from Northeast Childs Way are degree candidates from the Suzanne Dworak Peck School of Social Work, candidates from Dental Hygiene Program at the Herman Ostrow School of Dentistry, as well as candidates from the Keck School of Medicine's Health Promotion Division and Physician Assistant Program. On your right, entering the park in columns E and F, is the Bovard College and the Dornsife College of Letters, Arts, and Sciences. That's the spirit, Dornsife. Continuing in column F, passing the video screen on the southwest corner of Alumni Park, are the degree candidates of the Roski School of Art and Design, the Leonard Davis School of Gerontology, the School of Dramatic Arts, the Iovine and Young Academy, and the Viterbi School of Engineering. Ladies and gentlemen, The half-century Trojans are now entering the park from Bovard Auditorium and include graduates of USC from 1969 and before. The half-century Trojans are led by Dr. Patrick Auerbach, Associate Senior Vice President for Alumni Relations, Mr. Corey Berg, President of the USC Alumni Association Board of Governors, and Mrs. Ali Lockwood Solom, President of the Half-Century Trojans. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our Half-Century Trojans. Ladies and gentlemen, the half-century Trojans are circling the fountain of youth triumphant. Let's give a warm welcome to your half-century Trojans, graduates from 1969 and before. A salute from the graduates of 2019. Welcome, half-century Trojans. Ladies and gentlemen, the candidates for the Doctor of Philosophy degree will now enter Alumni Park from Bovard Auditorium. USC is the largest and oldest private research university in the American West. And this year, there are more than 200 PhD candidates. The PhD candidates are wearing the university's cardinal and gold doctoral gowns. Ladies and gentlemen, and all degree candidates, please welcome your colleagues and mentors, USC's candidates for the Doctor of Philosophy degree. A warm round of applause for our PhD candidates. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome from Bovard Auditorium the Parade of Flags. Please welcome the faculty of the University of Southern California as they approach from Bovard Administration Building. Heraldic flags representing each of the university's 21 degree granting academic units and carried by students from those units precede the faculty column. The faculty is wearing colorful academic gowns and hoods that represent the institutions from which they receive their degrees. This year, the USC Retired Faculty Association, one of the oldest in North America, is celebrating its 69th anniversary. Ladies and gentlemen, and degree candidates, the faculty of the University of Southern California. Ladies and gentlemen, the members of the university faculty are rounding the fountain at the center of the park. The faculty procession is headed by past presidents of the faculty, followed by faculty and retired faculty who remain honored members of our academic community. Let's give a warm welcome to the faculty of the University of Southern California. gentlemen, the platform party will now approach from Bovard Administration Building. One column is led by the president of the faculty, Dr. Yaniv Bar Cohen, who is carrying the silver university mace. The second column is led by Dr. Donald Manahan, the university marshal, who carries the university baton. The procession includes the trustees of the university in their cardinal gowns of office, the senior officers of the university, the deans, the honorary degree recipients, and the valedictorian and salutatorians of the class of 2019. Representing the schools, Dean Amber Miller, the USC Dana and Dornsife College of Letters, Arts, and Sciences, founded in 1880. Dean Catherine Quinlan, the USC Libraries, founded 1880. Dean Haven Lynn Kirk, the USC Roski School of Art and Design, 1883. Dean Robert Cudietta, the USC Thornton School of Music, 1884. Dean Laura Mosqueda, the Keck School of Medicine, 1885. Dean Andrew Guzman, the USC Gould School of Law, 1896. Assistant Dean of Research Yang Chai, the Herman Ostrow School of Dentistry, 1896. Dean Vasilios Papadopoulos, the USC School of Pharmacy, 1905. Dean Yanis Yortsos, the USC Viterbi School of Engineering, 1906. Dean Karen Sims Gallagher, the Rossier School of Education, 1909. Dean Milton Curry, the USC School of Architecture, 1919. Dean James Ellis, the USC Marshall School of Business, 1920. Interim Dean John Clapp, the USC Suzanne Dwork Peck School of Social Work, 1920. Dean Elizabeth Daly, the USC School of Cinematic Arts, 1929. Dean Jack Knott, the USC Saul Price School of Public Policy, 1929. Dean David Bridell, the USC School of Dramatic Arts, 1945. Dean Willow Bay, the Annenberg School for Communication and Journalism, 1971. Dean Pinchas Cohen, the USC Leonard Davis School of Gerontology, 1975. Dean William Holder, the USC Leventhal School of Accounting, 1979. Dean Robert Cudietta, the USC Gloria Kaufman School of Dance, founded 2012. President Wanda M. Austin marches at the end of the right-hand column. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the presentation of the colors and the singing of the national anthem performed by Kaylee Reese.
that so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming. And the rockets return from bursting in air, gave the proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Ladies and gentlemen, please remain standing for the invocation delivered by our Dean of Religious Life, Varun Soni.
In 1938, a team of researchers began following the lives of over 200 undergraduate students for 75 years in what became the longest-running longitudinal study of human development in history. The goal of the study was to determine what factors and conditions lead to human happiness and human well-being. According to the study, your ability to thrive and flourish in your life is not primarily a function of your salary, your status, your fame, your job, your possessions, or even the degree that you will receive today. Instead, your belief that you lived a life worth living will be based on one factor, and that is the depth and quality of your loving relationships. Indeed, at the end of the study, the researchers concluded what the Beatles told us more than 50 years ago: all you need is love. But in order to cultivate and nurture the kinds of loving relationships that bring us joy, gratitude, and abundance, we must make time, and we must take time. For as the great American modernist painter Georgia O'Keeffe reminds us, nobody sees a flower really. It's so small. We haven't time, and to see takes time, like to have a friend takes time. As we come together to celebrate commencement, let us vow that we will make the time to see the flower. We will take the time to have a friend. Let us rejoice in the loving relationships of family and friends, peers and mentors who are here today. Let us remember that it is with love that we come, with love that we go, and with love that we shall remain with each other. And let us all say together, amen.
Please be seated. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we would like to introduce some of the people who are here to celebrate this special day with us, who are on the platform. Please stand as I read your name. Rick Caruso, Chairman of the Board of Trustees. Michael Adler. Stephanie Argyros. David Bonnet. Joe Boscovich. Robert Bradway. Ramona Capello, Chris Cox, Frank Cruz, Suzanne Dworak Peck, Michelle Engemann, Daniel Epstein, Gloria Kaufman, Lydia Kennard, Ken Klein, John Kuzmierski, Jamie Lee, Kathy Leventhal, Kathleen McCarthy, Bill McMorrow, Oscar Munoz, Rod Nakamoto, Carmen Nava, Shelley Nemirovsky, Chris Popovich, Lorna Reed, Ed Roski, Amy Ross, Robert Smith, and Tracy Sykes. Ladies and gentlemen, our trustees. And now I would like to ask members of the senior administration to stand and be recognized as a group. Michael Quick, Provost and Senior Vice President for Academic Affairs. Carol Maushamir, Senior Vice President and General Counsel. David Brown, Interim Senior Vice President for University Relations. Jim Staten, Senior Vice President for Finance and Chief Financial Officer. Lynn Swan, the Kale Director of Athletics. Dave Wright, Senior Vice President for Administration. Ladies and gentlemen, our senior administration. And now it gives me great pleasure to introduce number one of the senior administration, the President of the University of Southern California, Dr. Wanda M. Austin.
Good morning, and welcome to the 136th annual commencement of the University of Southern California. Today, we confer more than 19,000 degrees at the undergraduate level, at the graduate level, and doctoral level, and the professional level. We celebrate graduates from all 50 states and nearly 120 nations, representing hundreds of fields and specialties. We're also delighted to present honorary degrees to distinguished leaders in public service and humanitarian outreach, a pioneering statistician and neuroscientist, a legendary performer in classical and contemporary dance, illustrious philanthropists and patrons of the arts, and the renowned conductor of the Spirit of Troy, the greatest marching band in the history of the universe. Today, we have gathered at a very important moment for our university, our nation, and our world. For our graduating students, and for all of us, this is an occasion of great joy and also a time of extraordinary change. Knowledge and discovery are accelerating at a rapid rate. Industries that have dominated for decades are being disrupted on a daily basis. Traditions that have lasted for ages are being swept away by the swift currents of change. It's been said that change is the only constant in life. For individuals and institutions, change can also be a great force for good. It can provide us with new perspectives, new energy, and new opportunities. And yet, in an era of continuous transformation, this ceremony is an enduring rite of passage, chapter, and the start of a new one. In addition, the graduates we celebrate today exemplify the very, very best of a new generation. Students, you are among the most advanced, the most talented, and the most creative in the nation. Your minds have been enriched and expanded by one of the most vibrant and diverse academic communities in higher education. You have witnessed our university's transformative journey as we address the current challenges, changes, and opportunities. As you make the transition to becoming alumni, it may be difficult to see what awaits you on the distant horizon of your lives. But no matter what path you choose, I encourage you to face the future with confidence. Confidence that you've been given the knowledge and the skills to help you lead and not follow. Confidence that you can make important contributions to your chosen professions. And most importantly, confidence that you have the power to change our world for the better. You should also carry with you the confidence that no matter how many miles you travel, how many years may pass, you will always be cherished members of the Trojan family. This family will inspire you, encourage you, and celebrate your accomplishments across the decades of your life, the continents of our world, and for those of you planning to go to Mars, throughout the universe. You will always be shining stars of the Trojan family. Your passion and your curiosity will lead you to new experiences and new discoveries. Your intellect and innovation will ignite the fire of creativity wherever you go. And wherever you go, you will always have collaborations and connections with USC. An important symbol of that enduring connection can be found in USC's half-century Trojans who were introduced earlier. Every member of this treasured group graduated at least 50 years ago. Would our half-century Trojans please stand now so that we may salute you? These extraordinary men and women demonstrate that to be a Trojan is to be a Trojan for life. Our half-century Trojans were educated and mentored by previous generations, and they have shown their support for younger Trojans like the students graduating today. I am confident that our newest alumni become leaders in their careers and their communities. They too will support the generations of the future. To the students we celebrate today, congratulations. From this moment on and for the rest of your lives, may you use your great gifts and talents to bring positive change to our lives and our world. We will always, always be proud of you, and may you always be proud to say that you're part of the Trojan family. Congratulations, class of 2019. Now, I would like to acknowledge some of the people who were instrumental in helping our graduates reach this moment today. At this time, I'd like to thank the USC faculty and staff for their contributions, support, and expertise. They set a standard of excellence for our students to follow. Will our outstanding faculty and staff please stand and be recognized? Next, it is time to recognize the friends and family members of our graduates. Your sacrifices and encouragement sustain our students in mind, body, and spirit. Will the parents and grandparents of our graduates, husbands, wives, partners, family members, and friends, please stand so that we may salute you. Your presence here is a powerful reminder that we can always count on our Trojan family, and that family continues to grow. This is a special commencement for me for many reasons, but it's a special commencement for Gloria Kaufman as well. She brought her own fan club. This year, we celebrate our first class of graduates from the USC Kaufman School of Dance. Today, these young scholar artists join an inspiring legacy that speaks to our university's long-standing excellence in the arts. As they receive their degrees, we also recognize that same creativity and dedication in all of our graduates. This is indeed a special day for them and for the entire USC community. Next, I would like to salute USC's exceptional senior scholars, beginning with our university-wide honors programs. All of these programs require an overall grade point average of 3.5 or better, and they each focus on one of USC's distinct strengths. Discovery scholars build upon our university's emphasis on innovation through original research and artistic creation. Our global scholars focus on international learning by studying or working as an intern or a volunteer for at least 10 weeks outside of the U.S. Our Renaissance scholars take advantage of USC's rich array of academic subjects by mastering at least 2 widely varied majors and minors. In addition, our Dornsife scholars pursue solutions to pressing social challenges facing our global community by striving to make a positive impact on the world. And finally, our Mork family scholars have demonstrated the highest qualities of scholarship and citizenship while at USC and will continue to do so as they pursue their careers in life. Would all of our honors scholars please stand so that we may recognize you? I would now like to recognize 14 undergraduate students who have received a perfect 4.0 grade point average. Please hold your applause as I read all of their names, and we will recognize them as a group. These students are Lauren Faturici, Lucas Gelfin, Alexandra Gershman, Lamisa Hassan, Siwei He, Raphael Merrick, Campbell Maddox, Jackson Reinhardt, Victoria Shumakova, Sarah Stevens, Joseph Teplecki, Haochen Wang, Taylor Whitmore, Madeline Zhang. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give a round of applause for these extraordinary students. At this time, I'd like to recognize 3 exemplary students from the class of 2019 who epitomize the greatest aspirations of all Trojan graduates, our salutatorian and valedictorian. This year, we have 2 salutatorians, Divya Gupta and Haochen Wang. Our first salutatorian, Divya Gupta, is receiving her degree in biological sciences from our Dornsife College of Letters, Arts, and Sciences. Her commitment to helping others drives her scholarship and service at USC. She has been an important advocate for student health and safety as a member of our undergraduate student government. She will attend medical school in the fall as she plans to continue helping others achieve wellness by pursuing a career in health research and policy. Please join me in saluting Divya Gupta, a salutatorian of the class of 2019. Our second salutatorian, Hao Cheng Wang, is graduating from our Dornsife College with degrees in astronomy and mathematics. His remarkable commitment to research includes his work with teams at USC and the Jet Propulsion Laboratory, as well as his contributions to NASA's Juno mission. His dedication to scientific inquiry is matched by his commitment to his artistic pursuits. He is a talented pianist and singer and has performed internationally with the USC Thornton Chamber Singers. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in recognizing Hao Cheng Wang, a salutatorian for the class of 2019. Now, it's my special privilege to introduce the valedictorian for the class of 2019, Ms. Ivana Zheng. An extraordinarily talented young woman, Ivana is a public policy major at our Price School, as well as global studies major at our Dornsife College. She's a passionate advocate for justice and equality in our Los Angeles community and around the world. Her dedication to scholarship and volunteer service has taken her to Nicaragua, Uganda, and Washington, D.C., where she served as the Schaefer Fellow in the United States Senate. Next year, she will add yet another stamp to her passport when she travels to Vietnam as the recipient of a prestigious Princeton in Asia Fellowship. I'm honored to present to you our valedictorian, an enterprising scholar whose achievements have earned her singular distinction among her peers. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Ms. Zheng.
Good morning, USC class of 2019. Wow, they really weren't kidding when they said I wouldn't be able to see anybody's faces from up here. But what a beautiful day and what a beautiful sight. I'm already trying to hold back tears, but this isn't new for me. I cry at everything. I cried before and after almost every dance competition performance I've had over the last 4 years. I've also cried seeing community development in action in Uganda, and I've cried witnessing the growth of students I've mentored. These emotional moments at USC have been unforgettably beautiful, but others have just been beautifully simple. Eating 15-cent ice cream in the park with my host sister in Nicaragua, diving deep into talks about family and identity with my best friends at 4 in the morning, and even just laughing at memes with my roommates over empty boxes of chicken nuggets, of course, at 4 in the morning. Mom and Dad, you weren't supposed to know that, but I'm graduating right now, so it's okay, right? These memories are the beautiful things I've experienced in this world, no matter how insignificant they might seem. We shouldn't take for granted everything that's allowed us to do all of these extraordinary and ordinary things. And shouldn't everyone have the right to learn and grow and express themselves with the goal of experiencing these beautiful moments in life? To me, that is a right that everyone deserves. But let's be honest, it's a right that not everyone has right now. We have to acknowledge that women, the queer and trans community, first generation and low-income students, Indigenous communities, differently abled individuals, migrants and refugees, and the Black, Brown, Latinx, and Asian Pacific communities haven't all had the same chance to experience what is beautiful in this world. This is true around the globe and right here on this campus. We have to be honest about the institutions we are a part of because we care about improving them. It's because I love USC that I helped create the Chief Diversity Officer position in the undergraduate student government after seeing that the university's efforts to increase diversity and inclusion weren't quite meeting the mark. I've seen great progress at USC since my freshman year, and now it certainly is groundbreaking that for the first time in the 139 years since its founding, women are leading the university. But breaking ground isn't enough. It's not enough to find new people to cycle through the same old systems. We have to reimagine a fundamental cultural shift of these systems. Here at USC, we've been told to fight on all these years. But I have to ask USC, what are we fighting for? I've fought alongside many friends to make underrepresented student voices heard because I believe in USC. And since USC believes in me to stand up here today, I hope my voice is heard loud and clear. There is a moral responsibility to protect the right for everyone to experience what is beautiful in this world. And given all that's happened here this year, I think it's time our campus leaders take a lesson from us students about how to truly live by a set of values. We have, and I know we will continue to show, that we take seriously the obligation to protect everyone's access around the globe to what is beautiful in life. But more than just having learned about the world through our classes, we have to continue to empathize with it and appreciate it, not only for what it is now, but also for what it could be in the future. Engineers and those in business can collaborate on the next green tech to protect future generations. Artists, designers, musicians, and performers will create things that inspire. And those working in education and healthcare can prepare people to go and find what's beautiful about the world themselves. It doesn't matter what our majors were or what our jobs might be. We will be the ones to decide what that future looks like, in which everyone in all parts of the globe can experience the beauty of being alive. As for me, to protect what is beautiful has been my why over the last several years. Why I fight for access to education, why I advocate for more conscious global relations, and why I've tried so hard to fill the world with love. I'd be lying if I said I figured out a job title for all of that. But for now, I hope that my unashamed willingness to cry in the face of these frustrating challenges and beautiful opportunities says this: that it's okay to feel and to struggle with everything that concerns us as humans. But for all that I've done at USC to place value on emotional vulnerability, the truth is that I'm still struggling with it where I think it matters most, with family. And I know I'm not alone. I hope you all take the time to give love to those who have made today possible. But if you'll bear with me for now, I want to say to my ma, ba, my brother, my Bangwayan Banoy here, and my Angwayan Onoy watching from above, and all of my ba, Ong Yi, Ko, Gao, and Ju who flew here, and those who are back home in Ohio. I'm working every day to understand how much it took for you to build your lives after the American war in Vietnam, and then be forced to rebuild your lives here in America as refugees. Because of you, I've experienced so many beautiful things throughout my life. Thank you for everything. You're the reason why I fight for what's beautiful in this world. To my fellow graduates, can we all make a promise to spread a little more love wherever we go from here? Can we share some of the beauty we felt here today together? I know we have it in us, so I'm confident that we really mean it when we say together, Fight on. Thank you.
Thank you, Ivana. Thank you for sharing your story with us. Thank you for giving us those words of encouragement this morning. At this time, we'll present honorary degrees to 7 exceptional individuals. As a group, they represent excellence in a broad variety of endeavors, and they share a passionate commitment to bettering the lives of others through their work. Their collective contributions stand as an inspiration to us all. First, I'd like to acknowledge the 2 honorary degree candidates who were unable to join us today, Edith Brode and Eli Brode. Earlier this week, I presented each of them with their diplomas in a special ceremony. Edith Brode's lifelong passion for the arts has transformed the cultural landscape of our city, and Eli Brode's entrepreneurial vision has fueled a wide-ranging research enterprise. Together, the Brodes are the consummate philanthropists of our era and for our world. Their boundless generosity is seen not only in the beautiful museum in the heart of our city, but also the cutting-edge medical research center on our health sciences campus. In recognition of their extraordinary humanitarian work and their tremendous efforts to improve our quality of life, the University of Southern California is proud to honor Edith Brode and Eli Brode with a degree of Doctor of Humane Letters, honoris causa. Now I'm pleased to personally introduce our next candidate. Upon the recommendation of the appropriate university committee, I present for the honorary degree of Doctor of Music, Dr. Arthur C. Bartner. He brought the band with him. Dr. Bartner has been the heart and soul of our Trojan Marching Band for almost half a century. He embodies the Trojan spirit, inspiring our community with his showmanship, his dedication, and his tireless efforts to educate and uplift our students. His bold vision transformed our band into the renowned Spirit of Troy, while making its energetic performances an essential part of USC's storied athletic tradition. Generations of USC students have thrived under his guidance as he has illustrated the importance of commitment, preparation, and teamwork in their daily lives. The USC community is especially proud to honor Dr. Bartner's musical creativity, his outstanding mentorship, and his enduring legacy as he prepares to celebrate his 50th anniversary as the director of our Trojan Marching Band. By the authority vested in me by the USC Board of Trustees, I hereby confer upon Arthur C. Bartner the degree of Doctor of Music, honoris causa. Please accept our warmest congratulations. Thank you. Our Dean of the USC Thornton School of Music and the USC Kaufman School of Dance, Robert Cuddietta, will present our next candidate for an honorary degree.
Madam President, upon the recommendation of the appropriate university committee, I present for the honorary doctorate degree the Doctor of Fine Arts, Mr. Mikhail Baryshnikov. One of the greatest dancers of our time, and indeed of all time, Mr. Baryshnikov has introduced audiences around the world to the beauty and the drama of the performing arts. He began his inspiring career with the world's most esteemed ballet companies and has earned widespread acclaim as an actor in theater, television, and film. He's a champion of artists across the globe, helping nurture their talent and creativity. He symbolizes artistic integrity and courage, and he stands as a beacon for all those who follow in his footsteps. For his incomparable artistry, his prodigious talent, and his contributions to the evolving landscape of dance, the University of Southern California is proud to honor Mikhail Baryshnikov with the degree of Doctor of Fine Arts honoris causa.
Our Dean of the USC Dornsife College of Letters, Arts, and Sciences, Amber Miller, will present our next candidate for an honorary degree.
Madam President, upon the recommendation of the appropriate university committee, I present for the honorary degree of Doctor of Science, Dr. Emery Neal Brown. A remarkably creative scholar, Dr. Brown has significantly deepened our understanding of the brain. His brilliant work has helped decipher the mechanics of general anesthesia, which has long stood as one of modern medicine's greatest mysteries. In the field of neuroscience, his pioneering statistical research has brought greater clarity to the inner workings of the nervous system. A true physician-scientist, he is committed to improving patient health outcomes, and his efforts to elevate standards of care to continue to inspire his colleagues throughout the medical community. For his peerless scholarship, his groundbreaking discoveries, and his foundational influence on the science and practice of anesthesiology, the University of Southern California is proud to honor Emery Neal Brown with the degree of Doctor of Science, honoris causa.
By the authority vested in me by the USC Board of Trustees, I hereby confer upon Emery Neal Brown the degree of Doctor of Science honoris causa. Please accept our warmest congratulations. Our Dean of the Rossier School of Education, Karen Sims Gallagher, will present our next candidate for an honorary degree.
Madam President, upon the recommendation of the appropriate university committee, I present for the honorary degree of Doctor of Humane Letters, Mrs. Cindy Hensley McCain. Mrs. McCain has dedicated herself to improving the lives of less fortunate as a humanitarian, an educator, and a civic leader. As a USC alumna, she has spearheaded efforts to end the crime of human trafficking, and her tireless activism has rallied a new wave of support for this important cause. In addition, she has led global leadership initiatives that emphasize security, freedom, and opportunity for all. Her work pays tribute to her family's stellar legacy of citizenship, which she continues to advance with humanity and heart. For her philanthropic leadership, her devoted public service, her compassion towards the most vulnerable members of our society, the University of Southern California is proud to honor Cindy Hensley McCain with the degree of Doctor of Humane Letters honoris causa.
By the authority vested in me by the USC Board of Trustees, I hereby confer upon Cindy Hensley McCain the degree of Doctor of Humane Letters, honoris causa. Please accept our warmest congratulations. Now it gives me great pleasure to personally introduce our final candidate for an honorary degree. Upon the recommendation of the appropriate university committee, I present for the honorary degree of Doctor of Humane Letters, the Honorable Karen Bass. A renowned public servant, Congressmember Bass is an exemplary role model for our community, our city, and our country. Her legislative achievements have benefited millions while furthering progress and prosperity at home and abroad. Currently representing California's 37th district in the U.S. House of Representatives, the district that I might add includes the University of Southern California. She has served her fellow citizens with grace and distinction. She has helped craft policies that reflect her deeply held principles, forging partnerships for global economic development and contributing to criminal justice reform. She currently serves as the chair of the Congressional Black Caucus, an esteemed role that speaks to her inspired leadership. Congressmember Bass is extraordinary in her determination to make our world a better place. Prior to serving in Washington, she became the first African-American woman to lead a state legislative body as the Speaker of the California State Assembly. Before being elected to public office, she founded Community Coalition, an organization that empowers Angelenos to transform their neighborhoods socially and economically. She's also a venerable USC alumna and served as a physician assistant and a clinical instructor at our own Keck School of Medicine. Today, we are especially proud to honor Congressmember Bass for her remarkable political leadership, her caring approach to civic engagement, and her unwavering commitment to our country. By the authority vested in me by the USC Board of Trustees, I hereby confer upon Karen Bass the degree of Doctor of Humane Letters, honoris causa. Please accept our warmest congratulations. It is now my pleasure to ask Dr. Karen Bass to offer the 2019 commencement address for the University of Southern California.
Good morning, soon-to-be graduates. I am so honored to be here with you today, and thank you for including me among the distinguished individuals receiving honorary degrees. Dr. Arthur Bartner, leading the famous USC band. We know he embodies the spirit of Troy. Mikhail Baryshnikov, for years I watched you dance with amazement. Each time your artistry and mastery reminded me how powerfully dance transcends nations and language. Dr. Emory Brown, whose pioneering scholarship reveals more and more about the deepest workings of the human mind. And Cindy McCain, with whom I am honored to work on human trafficking and who is a business leader and philanthropist. Cindy McCain, you have taught us all what it looks like to show strength in difficult times. I am proud and humbled to join you as the honorary doctorates of the class of 2019. To all the family, friends, and guests who are here today, thank you for the support that you have provided that has been critical to your graduates' success. For those of you who are graduating today without that kind of support, please know and remember that your success is a sign of strength and power as well as academic achievement. And of course, we are all thankful for the faculty and staff whose work in front of the classroom and behind the scenes has helped us arrive at this moment. For the leaders we honor today and for the families, friends, faculty, and staff that helped you achieve this milestone, please show your appreciation with another round of applause. So, this year, my former colleagues in Sacramento are celebrating the 100th anniversary of the first African American to serve in the California State Assembly. His name was Frederick Madison Roberts. He was a USC graduate at the beginning of the last century. But the piece of legislation he is probably best remembered for is the bill that established that school on the other side of town. That name that cannot be spoken at a Trojan graduation. So when you encounter someone from that other school, you remind them that their school only exists because a Trojan made it happen. More seriously, I mention Assemblymember Roberts because he was one of many Trojans who have graduated as you are today, and then went on to create meaningful lives that brought well-deserved esteem and acclaim. Let me list just a few of the people who exemplify the best of USC. 50 years ago, Trojan Neil Armstrong became the first human being to set foot on the moon. His achievement was very fitting for a university whose alumni also included Gene Roddenberry, who took us on a Star Trek, and George Lucas, who drafted us into Star Wars. Trojan musicians crossed the boundaries of style and the jazz of Lionel Hampton to the rhythm and blues of Macy Gray. Lillian Copeland was a pioneer. She won every track event she entered at USC, set a world record in the discus throw at the Olympic trials, was the first Trojan woman in the Olympics, and after all that went on to earn a JD at USC in 1934. Regina King, a much more recent graduate, took home the Oscar for Best Supporting Actress this year. Regina King was one of 7 Trojans who were nominated and 4 Trojans who won Oscars. All of these individuals grew up in vastly different times and came from widely diverse backgrounds, but they had 2 important things in common. They graduated USC and they dreamed. Of course, they studied, worked, sacrificed, and maybe even suffered to get where they did, but it all started with a dream, and now it's your turn to dream. The truth is, the nation needs you to dream. We need you to dream big about how you will tackle the world's greatest challenges and the challenges we face right here and now in the US. I hope you don't think these words are rhetoric. I do come from Washington, D.C. We need you to dream and to lead. The future of our world in this century will be determined by the choices made by the graduates seated here today. How is that for pressure, graduates? It's positive pressure because we have confidence in you. Here at USC, you receive the education and the tools that you need to change the world. The 4 academic pillars that served as the foundation of your educational experience can guide you as you embark on the next phase of life's journey. Learning, accountability, diversity, and leadership. These are the pillars that can guide you forward. At USC, you learn to be a critical thinker, not to skim the surface of an issue or a problem, but to look below the surface, to explore and understand the root causes and conditions of a problem, to respond not only with emotion, but instead to respond having thought deeply and analyzed thoroughly. At USC, you learned accountability. Whatever you do after you leave here today, no matter who you become or what roles you play in the future, it is my hope that you will always set high ethical standards and moral standards for yourself that will hold yourself accountable to those high standards. At USC, you learned about the meaning of diversity. It is my hope that you make a lifelong commitment to diversity. Diversity in thought, diversity in experience, and diversity in the communities you create for yourself and for your families. Perhaps the most important in our world today is leadership. Leadership skills, leadership qualities, and commitments have perhaps never been so needed in the world as they are right now. USC educates and prepares the next generation of leaders, and today we graduate thousands of those leaders. So graduates, now is the time for you to lead. As Trojans, we share the spirit of Troy, and we fight on until we win. We raise our 2 fingers whenever and wherever we see another Trojan. But I ask you today, when you claim your Trojan identity, what does it truly mean to you? Is it a symbol of our victorious athletic teams? Or is it a fun way to greet and take a selfie with someone who went to the same school as you? Or does the Fight On slogan and greeting have a deeper meaning? It is my hope that it represents a spirit, an energy, a commitment that Trojans bring to the world. A spirit that rejects passive participation in our society. A spirit that believes Trojans must not be content to sit in the passenger seat when urgent problems call. Trojans step forward to drive because Trojans lead. I believe lifelong learning, accountability to high ethical and moral standards, commitment to diversity, and having skills and knowledge to lead, I believe this is what Trojans are made of. I believe this is what the Trojan spirit is about. And our call to fight on is about more than teams and selfies. It's about how we approach the challenges of life. For example, in a short while, you will all be Trojan alum. Now, we need you to fight on until we understand why, with growing frequency, the world experiences extreme changes in weather. We need you to fight on until we understand why the world is experiencing one of the greatest migrations in history. Millions of people taking perilous journeys over land and by sea. We need you to fight on until we create the next generation of technological advancements and wealth-generating businesses for all people. And we need you to fight on until our nation, the richest nation in the history of the world, can find the way to provide health care, eliminate the achievement gap, and ensure justice is truly experienced by all of our citizens. Graduates, if you are lucky enough to achieve great individual wealth, as many Trojans do, first and foremost, remember where you got your education. And then identify a problem in the community and set out to solve it. Build wealth for yourself and for your community, but never forget that you are from a community. And if all is well with your community, remember that so many other communities face challenges that need your expertise and treasure. There are infinite number of ways you can become involved and take responsibility for our collective world. Hopefully, we now all understand that it is our responsibility to vote in every single election. But I do hope that we've also learned that just voting is not enough. We must be consistently involved in neighborhood associations and our city and state and federal governments. Sometimes we complain about government, but too often we don't think it's our responsibility to participate in government. We all lead busy lives, but with technology, there are many ways to participate. Emails, text messages, phone calls. You may think these don't matter, but trust me, it all counts. I promise you that your representatives pay attention. We log and tally the calls, emails, and text messages, and all of them influence our decision-making. Become leaders in your profession, in the professional organizations that ensure quality and ethics in your chosen field, and use technology to better the world. And always remember that technology can bring us together, but it can also isolate us and sharpen divisions and exacerbate the problems we face. Ask yourself these questions. What will you make of the world? What will be your purpose? Your life can be created, celebrated, and remembered. Which course will you choose? Seeking creativity? If you choose to seek creativity, then nurture an idea. Give birth to your dreams led by an enduring hope to build a better world. Apply math to calculate the measure of success. Use science to engineer the path to success. Always recall history to tap the wisdom of the ages and find the beauty in art and give of your own soul with your best performance. Seeking celebrity? If you wish to be celebrated, seek a charitable cause and give of yourself more than others do. Grow above and beyond the daily demands of selfishness. Delight in the virtues of teamwork. Take an oath to heal the sick through your knowledge of medicine. Use physics and take the human race soaring to a new frontier. Search for courage and find your inner hero. These things are worthy of celebrity, and should you find them, they will last a lifetime. We need you to dream and dream big. Don't just think outside of the box. Join me in flat out rejecting the idea that the box exists at all. There are no limits, no boundaries to what you can imagine and what you can achieve. So class of 2019, we call on you to take the gifts you learned at USC, use the 4 academic pillars of learning, accountability, diversity, and leadership to ask the questions and answers to the complex challenges facing our world, and then use the Trojan spirit to fight on until victory. So come on, graduates, I want to hear it all together now. USC Trojans do what? Fight on. Do what? Fight on. USC Trojans fight on until we change the world. Thank you and congratulations to you all.
President Austin, before we confer degrees, I would like to invite our chairman of the board, Rick Caruso, to make a special announcement.
Good morning. On behalf of my fellow trustees, congratulations to our amazing graduates. I have a surprise this morning, and it's a good surprise. It's a surprise for a person who has led this university through probably the most challenging period in our 140-year history. Upon the recommendation of the appropriate university committee, I have the honor of presenting you, Dr. Wanda Austin, as a candidate for the honorary degree of Doctor of Humane Letters. the best surprise all year. And we know you don't need another degree. As interim president, Dr. Austin has led this university with courage, dignity, and grace. She was never a caretaker, and never once did she avoid making hard decisions. Just the opposite. Dr. Austin listened, she learned, she engaged, she led. She was well prepared to handle any challenge that might be thrown at her, and there have been a few. This honorary doctorate also serves as a medal of courage. Before accepting this challenge, Dr. Austin was already a remarkable and accomplished woman, holding a bachelor's degree in mathematics, a master's degree in systems engineering and mathematics, and she earned her doctorate in systems engineering right here at USC. All of those credentials eventually led her to become the first woman and the first African American to become the CEO of the Aerospace Corporation. And if that wasn't impressive enough, she became the first woman and African American to be president of USC. Over the last 9 months, she has honorably led our university, and through it all, she has been as ready, as strong, as courageous, and as principled as the Trojan warrior standing tall across the way. For our Trojan family, she was the right person at the right time, at the right place. She made a difference. She did the right thing. And she created a brighter future for generations of Trojans to come. The entire USC family, including me, will forever be indebted. Words will never be able to express the profound gratitude for her exceptional leadership, her uncommon dedication, and her extraordinary service to our USC community. With the enthusiastic and unanimous support and gratitude of her colleagues on the USC Board of Trustees, I am delighted to confer upon Wanda M. Austin the degree of Doctor of Humane Letters, honoris causa. Wanda, I just want you to know that as we all look forward today, we will always look back in the deepest appreciation and admiration for your leadership, for your grace, and for your strength. Thank you. Congratulations.
Madam President, at this time, we will salute our graduating students before you confer their degrees upon them. We will begin with the candidates for baccalaureate degrees. After I read the full list of schools with candidates for bachelor's degrees, I will ask those candidates to rise. The Dornsife College of Letters, Arts, and Sciences. The Iavine and Young Academy for Arts, Technology, and the Business of Innovation. The Leventhal School of Accounting. The School of Architecture. The Roski School of Art and Design. The Marshall School of Business. The School of Cinematic Arts. The Annenberg School for Communication and Journalism. The Kaufman School of Dance. The Ostro School of Dentistry, including the Department of Dental Hygiene and the Mrs. T.H. Chan Division of Occupational Science and Occupational Therapy. The School of Dramatic Arts. The Viterbi School of Engineering. The Leonard Davis School of Gerontology. The Keck School of Medicine, including the Global Health Program and the Program in Health Promotion and Disease Prevention Studies. The Thornton School of Music. The School of Pharmacy and the Price School of Public Policy. Will the candidates for the bachelor's degree please rise? Madam President, it is with pride that I present these candidates. They have completed their courses of study and are recommended for their respective bachelor degrees by the faculty of their schools.
Candidates for the baccalaureate degree, you have developed a broad and rich base of knowledge by pursuing studies in your selected majors and exploring a wide range of academic disciplines. I warmly salute you.
Please be seated. We will now salute the candidates for master's degrees and certificates. After I read the list of schools with master's candidates, I will ask those candidates to rise. The Dornsife College of Letters, Arts, and Sciences, the Iavine and Young Academy for Arts, Technology, and the Business of Innovation, the Bovard College, the Graduate School, the Leventhal School of Accounting, the School of Architecture, the Roski School of Art and Design, the Marshall School of Business, the School of Cinematic Arts, the Annenberg School for Communication and Journalism, the Ostro School of Dentistry, including the Division of Biokinesiology and Physical Therapy, and the Mrs. T.H. Chan Division of Occupational Science and Occupational Therapy, the School of Dramatic Arts, the Rossier School of Education, the Viterbi School of Engineering, including the engineer's degree, the Leonard Davis School of Gerontology, the Gould School of Law, the Keck School of Medicine, including the Physician Assistant Program and the Nurse Anesthesia Program, the Thornton School of Music, the School of Pharmacy, the Price School of Public Policy, and the Dworak Peck School of Social Work. Will the master's degree candidates please rise? Madam President, it is with pride that I present these candidates. They have completed their courses of study and are recommended for their respective master's degree and certificates by the faculty of their schools.
Candidates for the master's degree, you have built upon the foundation laid during your years of undergraduate study, gaining deeper knowledge in your chosen field. I warmly salute you.
Thank you. Please be seated. We will now salute the candidates for professional doctoral degrees. After I read the list of degrees, I will ask those candidates to rise. Doctor of Dental Surgery, including the certificate in Advanced Dental Education. Doctor of Education. Doctor of Law. Doctor of Medicine. Doctor of Musical Arts. Doctor of Occupational Therapy. And Doctor of Pharmacy. Doctor of Physical Therapy, Doctor of Policy, Planning and Development, Doctor of Regulatory Science, and Doctor of Social Work. Will the candidates for professional doctoral degrees please rise? Madam President, these candidates have completed their courses of study and are recommended for the doctoral degree by the faculty of their respective schools. I present them to you with great admiration for their achievements.
Candidates for the professional doctoral degree, you have demonstrated expertise in your fields and acquired the skills you need to become leaders in your professions. I warmly salute you.
Congratulations. Please be seated. We will now salute the candidates for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. Will those candidates please rise? Madam President, for an average of 4 to 5 years subsequent to a baccalaureate degree, these candidates have pursued advanced courses of study and programs of individual research. Each has prepared a dissertation and defended it before a committee of faculty members. These candidates have completed all of the requirements and are recommended by the faculty of the graduate school for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. I present them to you with great pride and welcome them to the ranks of scholars.
Candidates for the Doctor of Philosophy degree, you have made original contributions to the store of knowledge, and through your ideas and research, you will continue to advance human thought and understanding. I warmly salute you.
Thank you. Please be seated. And now, before we confer your degrees, we will issue a charge to the Trojan graduates. The text comes from Virgil's epic, the Aeneid, and will be read in Latin, Greek, and English. In this passage, the great hero Aeneas urges his fellow Trojans to move forward with a powerful and determined spirit. Elizabeth McAtee, a sophomore majoring in comparative literature at our Dornsife College, will issue the charge in Latin. Vasilios Papadopoulos, our dean of the USC School of Pharmacy, will follow in ancient Greek. And I, thankfully, will conclude in English. You will find the words inside the front cover of your program. Will all candidates for degrees, including honorary degree recipients, please rise at this time and remain standing as the charge is delivered.
O socii, neque mignari sumus ante malorem, o passi graviora, dabit Deus his quoque finem. Vos et sculaem rabiem penitusque sonantes accestis scopulos, vos et cuclopia saxa experti, revocat animos, maestemque timorem mittite. Forsan et haec olim meminisse iuabit. Per varios casus, per tot discrimina rerum, tendimus in Latium. Sedes ubi fata quietas ostendunt. Illic fas regna resurgere Troiae. Durat, et vos met rebus servate secundis.
Ω φίλοι, ουγάρτου τι κακόν αδαήμον εσήμεν, ο χείρο τάλαντες, Θεός ίσι της δέτη πήραρ.Ήμες και λύσιν σκυλέιν και βαρίχους ήλθετε να σκοπέλους, και πετρών κυκλοπίων δε πεπήρθετε πότ. Αλλά μνήστε, αν γυρώνετε πάνω από θεσδεδέως, νήστε και τον δεν συνήσει. Παντιήσει τύχες διατάρτωσον δε αγώνων, σπέβδομεν εις Λάτιον, γης έδρας ενθ ασαλεύτους μη επιδείξαν. Εκεί θέμης εξεγερνέστε τριήν, τλείτε σωθόντες μίμνη τε γελώων οπίσω.
My comrades, hardly strangers to pain before now, we have all weathered worse. Some God will grant us an end to all of this as well. You've threaded the rocks resounding with Scylla's howling rabid dogs and taken the brunt of the Cyclops' boulders too. Call up your courage again. Dismiss your grief and fear. A joy it will be one day, perhaps, to remember even this. Through so many hard straits, so many twists and turns, our course holds firm for Latium. There, fate holds out a homeland, calm, at peace. There, the gods decree, the kingdom of Troy will rise again.
By the authority vested in me by the USC Board of Trustees, I hereby confer upon each of you the degree or certificate for which you have been recommended by the faculty, with all the rights, privileges, and responsibilities appertaining thereto. As evidence of these degrees and certificates, I shall direct that an appropriate diploma of the University of Southern California be presented to each of you, signed by its officers and embossed with the seal of the University of Southern California. I ask the faculty to stand and join me in saluting the newest graduates of the University of Southern California. Congratulations, class of 2019, and fight on. Please be seated. Graduates, you now officially join the ranks of our alumni. You follow in the footsteps of a long and proud procession of Trojans who have used their knowledge and talents to benefit the world around them. I know you will add to this legacy with your insightful leadership, your professional achievements, and your civic contributions. We now come to the end of the 136th annual commencement of the University of Southern California. We ask all graduates and guests to stay in their seats until the platform party and faculty have left Alumni Park. Rest assured, your satellite ceremonies will not begin until you arrive. Now I ask that you all please stand for the singing of the Alma Mater. We will be led by Edmund Rodriguez, who is graduating today from our Thornton School of Music. You will find the words on the back cover of your program. Thank you, and fight on.
Southern California, loud let thy praises ring, where western skies excellency, our college stands in majesty. Sing our love to alma mater. Hail to thee, O
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for attending the 2019 commencement ceremony. Please remain in your seats until the platform party and graduates have left Alumni Park. Thank you and have a wonderful day.
Ladies and gentlemen, please remain in your seats until the faculty has passed through the center aisle. Thank you.